Hello, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be going over 3 ACT math questions. For all these problems, I recommend pausing the video and trying these problems yourself first before you see me solve them. Without wasting any time, let's get into it. Question 25 says 3 times, parentheses, sine 2 theta squared plus cos 2 theta squared, parentheses closed, equals what? So for this problem, you need to recognize an identity, which is sine of x squared plus cosine of x squared equals 1. You can actually use this identity over here. If you're thinking, well, here it's an x and here it's a 2 theta, so you can't do that. Well, what this basically means is that in this case, x, which is your theta, right? In this case, x is 2 theta. This would hold true if it was sine 5 theta squared plus cos 5 theta squared equals 1. This is also equal to 1. X is just like your angle, and it could be 4 theta, 5 theta, 6 theta, it doesn't matter. As long as these two are the same, it's going to be equal to 1. So sine 2 theta squared plus cosine 2 theta squared is 1. So it's going to be 3 times 1, and 3 times 1 equals 3. So 25 is D. On to question 52, which says, let f of g of x equal the cube root of x plus 1 minus 2, and let g of x equals x plus 1. Which of the following expressions defined g of f of x? So for this, first remember this notation just means f of g of x, and this notation means g of f of x. That's all the notation means. So for this problem, first let's just see what's happening, right? So this shows you what f of g of x is, right? So this means they already plugged in g of x into this formula, and this is how it looks like. And we're given that g of x equals x plus 1, right? Remember, I've said that for composite function questions, you start from the inside and make your way towards the outside, right? So normally when it's like a number, like f of g of 2, right? You plug in 2 into g of x, and then you would, whatever value you get, so you would get like 2 plus 1, you would get 3. G of 2 is 3. You would plug in 3 here, right? You would swap g of 2 with 3, and then you would plug in 3 into f of x. In this case, we don't have a number. So what we do is we would just plug in the expression x plus 1 into f of x. So if I look here in f of g of x, right, I can see that x plus 1, this is where they plugged g of x in, right? So this tells me that f of x is the cube root of x minus 2. And why? Well, for f of g of x, right? You plug in g of x for wherever you see x in the function f, right? And then here, they plugged in x plus 1 into wherever they saw x in the function f, right? So f of x is the cube root of x minus 2, right? And this is right because now if we were to try to find f of g of x, we would just plug in g of x, which is x plus 1, into x, and that matches exactly this. So now it's asking us which of the following expressions defines g of f of x, which means we're going to plug in f of x into g, right? So wherever we see x in g of x, we just replace it with f of x. So it would be the cube root of x minus 2 plus 1, right? We just swap the x with f of x, and this simplifies to cube root of x minus 1, which matches answer choice G. On to the last question, 57, which says, let a, b, and c and d be real numbers, given that ac equals 1, and b plus c over d is undefined, and abc equals d, which of the following must be true? Okay, for this problem, first let's look at b plus c over d is undefined, right? Let's look at that part. In order for this to be undefined, remember, a fraction is undefined when the denominator is equal to 0. So in this case, d has to equal to 0, right? So that's one thing we know. That's not in the answer choice, so let's keep trying to figure out what a, b, or c have to be. Next thing is that they've given us ac equals 1. And they've also given us that abc equals d, right? First, let's swap let's swap d with 0. And we're given ac equals 1, right? We can substitute 1 in for ac. Remember, it's a times b times c equals 0. And we know a times c is 1. So this would be 1 times b equals 0, right? So we know that 1 times b has to equal 0. And the only way for that to be true is b has to be 0, right? And that matches answer choice D. Now, let's look at the other answer choices. If we look at answer choice A, it says A equals 0 or C equals 0. Well, we know that AC equals 1. If either A or C is equal to 0, then AC won't equal 1. So A is not right. For B, it says A equals 1 and C equals 1, right? Well, we know that we have to match all three of these restrictions, that A times C has to equal 1, B plus C over D has to be undefined, and ABC has to equal D, right? In order for B plus C over D to be undefined, D has to be 0, right? If A equals 1 and C equals 1, that doesn't guarantee that D is going to be 0, right? So, because now if our answer choice, or the correct answer is B equals 0, that guarantees that D will be 0. But if it was answer choice B, then it wouldn't guarantee that B is 0, and then D wouldn't be 0, which is what we want in order to satisfy that B plus C over D has to be 0, right? So it's not B either. A equals negative C, just like answer choice B, it doesn't guarantee that D is 0. This is the only one that guarantees D is 0, because if we specifically say that if B equals 0 has to be true, then always A times B times C is going to be 0. So D will always be 0. This will be undefined, and then AC equals 1, that will also be fulfilled. And then B plus C equals 0. Again, just like B and C, this doesn't guarantee that d will be 0, which is what we want in order for this fraction to be undefined. So we get d as our answer. I hope that makes sense, and thank you for watching.